Welcome, everybody. I'm Kris Miller, and I'm your host today. Create income you'll never outlive. We're going to talk about Social Security and all the things around Social Security. I've been in practice here for over 30 years, and I show people how to create income they'll never outlive. So that is my specialty, protection of assets. And before we get started, I want to give you guys some gifts. So I want to make sure that you're aware of it. People are going to be jumping on. We're just going to go ahead and get started. But you will see that there's a handout for you that we made. It's called your Next Chapter Checklist. You can download that. All these things are going to help you navigate this complicated issue because there's a lot of things to think about when you think about when you take your Social Security and all the different things. It isn't just about Social Security. That's what I've found in my practice. With over 6,000 clients, no one on my watch has ever lost one dime in any market risk. So I'm pretty proud of that. And I'm excited to share all of these things. Another blessing I have for you is my #1 best-selling book. You see that right on the corner, Ready for Pre-Retirement: 3 Secrets for Safe Money and a Fabulous Future. So you will be able to get a hold of that. And inside of that book, there are actually a little checklist of things that I'm talking about. It'll help you form some questions and a plan. And I'm also going to offer a complimentary financial fitness strategy session after we get through this. So I just wanted to give you some of the things that you should know about from the beginning. So also, the complimentary financial fitness strategy, I suggest you just click the box because you're going to want to get into that. Right now, everybody's going to want to talk to me. And so get it while you can here. So what's so nice about this is the planning for when you're going to take your Social Security. And there's, like I said, there's a lot to this. So part of what I do, it isn't just what age you take it. You have to look at all the different things that are going on in your life. So that's why I offer the financial fitness strategy session, which is basically, I ask you a bunch of questions based on what I'm going to share today. So make sure you take notes so you'll be able to get the most out of it. I want to share my 30 years with you. I've really learned a lot about it. You'll be seeing this little sign coming back up, financial fitness strategy, as we go through the program here. And again, you'll be able to get my book. Now, really, because I've been doing this for so long and like I said, 30 years, can't even keep up with it. The important thing is planning, is making sure that you have a plan, making sure which direction you can go. And when you realize that there's about income, how to create income, and how does it work with your Social Security and the timing of retirement, you will be so much above the way of the world. And right now, I have never seen so much uncertainty. And we all know it. I don't need to get into it. But the blessing that I have is health, the healing of money, healthy money. When you get your money healthy, it does give you a happy life because you don't have to worry about it. So we're going to break down retirement. Now, that's really a hard word for a lot of people. It's just life without working. A lot of people recreate their life and give back and do other things. But the idea is taking the amount of money that you've made or that you're making and make sure that it's going to last you for the rest of your life. So the uncertainty that we're in, we're going to talk about this is the income, the 3-legged stool, the things that you need to know about that, and taxes. Oh yeah, taxes, right? We are headed to the biggest tax increases that we know about. A lot of things are coming down the road. I'm sure you've heard wind of them. Let's get ready. Let's be prepared. So some of the questions, now I want you guys to chat and answer this right now. What is your full retirement age? This is a good one because a lot of people don't even know what their full retirement age is. And I'll use FRA to abbreviate that, full retirement age. So go ahead and put that in. What is going to be your full retirement age? Afterwards, we'll check that back out. Also, there's a chat box in there, and you can put questions in the end, and I'll be able to answer a few of the questions here. So The important question that I want to ask you is, do you want to protect your estate from losses, taxes, and long-term care costs? Can't hear ya. Yes, you do. By affirming this, this is going to get you a little more proactive, because what I've seen with people is that you go to school, you learn how to make money, you get out of school, what do? You go make money. And when you start making money, because you don't really know much about it, you give it to somebody else. And what do? Most of the time, they're gambling it for you, because Wall Street is a gamble, right? So most people really don't understand their money. What's so fascinating is, in my business, decades, people come into my office with thousands of portfolios. And I say, well, okay, where's your IRA? Where's your 401k? And they'll go, well, it's at the bank. I go, where at the bank? What's it invested in? And unfortunately, people are a little disempowered because they don't understand where their money is. Right now, there are a lot of dangers that are lurking, hidden from view. One of them is quite obvious. Now, we're just been balancing here. All we need is one little breath of turbulence, and this Wall Street is going bye-bye. Really very volatile. And you can see the ups and the downs. So now when you get into third and fourth quarter life, this is not the part of life that you want to be gambling your money. Now, people go, well, what does this have to do with Social Security? It all has to do with Social Security, because unfortunately, all the assets are going to make a play. Your 401k, your IRA, your retirement, all those things are going to make a play on your Social Security. And besides the uncertainty of what's going on in the world. Now, when we're going to navigate through these layers of retirement, the what if and the what now, and all of these things, this is what we're going to talk about and break it down for you. Now, if you check these out, we have some similar passes here, and in the market, look at where we've been, how we just basically pulled out of one of the biggest crashes, right, from the Great Depression to what we just went through with the pandemic. And we're barely crawling out of there, but that is a very huge uncertainty that you have to think about. How is that going to affect your Social Security? One, you want to make sure that you never lose a dollar in the risky stock market. Where's your 401k? Where's your IRA? In the stock market casino. So you've got to pay attention to your money. Remember 2008? It shocks me how many people forgot that and went right back to the same thing and have most of their money in risk, thinking that they're going to get more gains that way. Well, one of my gifts is to be able to share with people places that you can put your money that is safe, and to create tax-free, yep, you heard me right, income and tax-deferred income for life. With learning these kinds of things, there's very creative ways that you will be able to defer taking your Social Security. Why? Because you're going to get more. And we'll come back to that. All right. Now, go ahead and put in the chat box the name of this ship. What's the name of this ship? Everybody knows the name of the ship, right? Okay. Right. The Titanic. And why am I showing you this? Besides the movie, there was something really precarious about this. There was a lot, actually. The more I find out of it, it's very, very odd. But it had to do with the arrogance. The arrogance of what happens with human nature is that they were so confident that this ship was going to be stellar and make it, right? They didn't have enough lifeboats. They did not have enough lifeboats for the people on the ship. And what the captain did was he had to make record time, and he poured on the gas, and he ran through, right, all the ice. What happened? It crashed. Well, that's the same kind of an atmosphere that I think we're in now. It's an atmosphere of arrogance. People think they know what's going on, or they're stuck in ways that they've always done their planning. So you need to learn about a financial lifeboat to keep your retirement afloat. A lot of people are kind of concerned thinking about, they're even wondering if Social Security is going to be there. I've seen some very scary figures on when Social Security is going to be without money. And I'm not really not going to even, go down that road. That's a whole nother workshop. You can catch me later on that. So what you need to look at is, can your retirement withstand another major correction? Say you're almost retired or you're retired. This works for everybody, whether before or after. Can your money withstand another correction? Can you afford to lose 20 to 40% like the next crash? Okay. So you go to school, right? Have you ever noticed that there's never any Money 101 classes? When I do live events, I'll ask everybody in the audience, raise your hand. Have you done any Money 101 classes? And I would see zero, maybe one hand go up. There aren't any Money 101 classes. So you go to school, learn how to make money, and get out of school, and you make money and don't know what is going on in money. So I'm going to give you a little short PhD class here. You're going to get what you need to manage going through these turbulent waters we're in. Okay? So here's the three-legged stool I told you about in the beginning. We have one leg is Social Security, we have personal savings, and we have pensions. Those are the three legs that you're going to be able to sit on the stool of stability, right? So the plan is to protect your income. That's the idea. Because if you leave your income volatile, it's not going to last you for your life. And being that we know that the taxes are going up, right? This is what you have to have in mind. A lot of people plan their retirement. They get their Social Security and they download, oh, my income is going to be this. But they don't realize, one, are you still going to be working? Two, have you figured in a 40% tax or more? Because we have been in some of the lowest taxes in the history of this country recently, but it's going back up here. Now, taxes that you will be concerned about are the taxes and the things that the politics is going to do. I don't even want to go there. But there's so many laws that are being changed right now that we don't really even have any idea what's going on behind the scenes, honestly. Can't really trust the news. So this is what I'm going to tell you. A few years ago, I was honored to go to Washington, D.C. and talk to the financial employees, officers. And when I went there, these are the guys that handle the billions and trillions of dollars, the directors of the money that we all get. And there was a couple hundred people there, and I was giving this presentation, and I had to make sure that I had all my numbers right. So this is a few years ago. When I went there, I had to make sure, but when I gave this presentation, there are literally 75,000 pages in the IRS code book, 870 different tax chapters. So do you think you might be missing something in your taxes? Yeah, there's a lot to it. So the four major retirement taxes are Social Security, capital gains, taxes on interest income, and taxes upon death. So let's break that down. So how do they figure out your Social Security? Now, as of now, the way the laws are working, if you are still working and your income, you're married and it exceeds 32,000 or single at 25,000, they can calculate 50% out of your Social Security. Doesn't mean they're taking 50%, but they'll use that in the calculation. If you're single, they can take 25 and they use that in the calculation. Married, it's 44. If you're over 44, they can use 85% as a calculation to take more taxes. And single is 34. So now you're not getting what you thought you were getting in Social Security because you're going to be taxed on it if you're still working. And I bet you, how many of you think you're going to be working past your FRA, your full retirement age? Go ahead, talk to me. Show me in the chat. Are you feeling that? Okay. Now, the Capital gains taxes really affects real estate, stocks, and there are ways that you can eliminate capital gains. I won't go too much into that. We'll talk about that a little bit later, but there are ways that you can defer taxes. Who is this guy, right? Remember Mick Jagger? He's still performing in his 70s, but I know for sure he has an annuity. He has his money safe so that it will last him for his life. So the idea, that's why I say healthy money, happy life, is to have peace of mind. What's more important, higher rate of return or peace of mind? I know watching the news and watching your money going up and down is nauseating. It's very uncomfortable. It doesn't give you peace of mind. So the things that you want to look for in your money is make sure it's safe, make sure it's liquid where you have access to it, make sure you have tax-free or tax-deferred income for life, no probate, good returns without a risk, and your money's protected if you go to a nursing home, and that you can receive the gains of the market without losing your principal. All this relates to your Social Security. All this will relate to how you're going to take the money out of the system. It all affects, it's all connected. So, do you want more or less tax, right? Of course, you want less tax, right? Of course. That's obvious, but sometimes you got to get people to affirm, yes, I want less tax and do something about it. Now, 96% of all Americans turn on Social Security at the wrong time. That's right, at the wrong time. And that's why hopefully you're here so that you can learn about the right time for you, because your time is going to be different than the other people that are on the call here. So, determining your full retirement age, the age you're going to qualify for 100% of your Social Security benefits, is known as the FRA. Now, if you look at this chart, go ahead and take notes for yourself, and you can see what age you're supposed to be for your full retirement age. Okay? Now, the three main options that you can, we're going to break down how you can take your Social Security. If you start collecting before your FRA, your full retirement age, is 62, right? Then that is what's going to happen. You're going to get 30% less of your retirement by taking it early. A lot of people think, well, I'm going to take it early because Social Security will be gone. That's not always the right way to think about it. And when I do Social Security planning with people and you jump on for a financial fitness strategy session, it isn't about the age or the percents. There's lots of things that you have to think about. And that's why when we hop on the call for the financial fitness strategy, I just ask you some questions on your age, your health, your wealth. Everything I'm talking about today, we'll be able to leverage because I'm going to get information that's customized for you and come back and literally give you your own private presentation on what I'm talking about today on the healthy money and Social Security income for life based on everything we're talking about. So make sure you click on the schedule now because, like I say, the week is almost full this week and will be pretty much full as we go forward here. So start collecting at your full retirement age. You got that from that one slide, or start collecting after the full retirement age. So if you collect after your full retirement age, obviously you're going to get more. Did you realize that you're literally getting 8% more? Because Social Security is a big annuity. An annuity is it's like a savings account with an insurance company. The principal never goes down. There's safety there. The government is putting in 8%. So that means you're going to get 30% more by pushing your full retirement age forward. Now, there are other things to consider when you're thinking about when am I going to take Social Security? Longevity, obviously, if your health isn't good, it might be a good time to take it early. Some people have health issues, and you want to consider that. You also want to consider what's going on if you're married and your spouse and all of those situations. Spousal benefits. There's different kinds of ways that you can do planning with your partner on that. And are you going to continue working? Again, I find a great percentage of people are literally going to be working past their full retirement age. I am. I'm going to be working as long as I can. I really enjoy my work. My daddy, he worked till he's 91.6. Seriously. And he wouldn't have stopped except he had a fall. And I'll share that story with you later, but honestly, you got to plan for longevity. I use 100, 120 as my marker. So my income is going to last me that long. And then I'll have extra to leave to my legacy. Another thing to consider is the inflation and what's going on with our dollar, which is really in a race right now because the world is changing. It's going into a global economy, whether we like it or not. That's the war. That's what all this back and forth is. It really isn't Republican and Democrat. It's about money. It really is. When you learn about the big banks and how the money system works, you'd be shocked. And right now, well, as of 2016, 66 cents on every dollar goes to pay for four things: Social Security, Medicaid, Medicare, and the national debt. I know. Look at this. Check this out. Do this poll here for me. Who thinks the Social Security Trust Fund has a positive surplus this year? Go ahead and answer that, please, for me, okay? By answering that, it's really informative, especially if you drill down on this new law that they're passing right now. How many trillions of dollars? It's going to add up to 4. It's crazy. The amount of money, the debt. This is money. This is money we don't have. This is not money that we have. It's money that's been printed, that it's not backed on gold. You hear what I'm saying? I'm kind of like, be prepared, you guys. Be prepared. I'm not trying to, I really want to make sure you're aware of what's going on here. So the value of the dollar is going bye-bye, and it's not worth as much as it used to be. Obviously, right now, if you look at that, look at this, 92 of by 2022, right? 92 cents of every dollar will be paying for those 4 things. What does that leave? 8 cents left for all these other things that are being invented right now in the new laws that are coming, which means lots of uncertainty. Look at our 8 cents are going to pay for all these new things that we're going to get, right? Maybe. So it is the national debt versus the economy. We were at a pretty good economy going here. It was starting to really, really go good before the pandemic hit, obviously. And that clock, you can go online. It is nauseating to go check out the debt clock that we're in. It's unreal, never to be paid back, honestly. The world is in it now. It is a global debt. Okay, so here's some fun part. Now, I'm going to show you, give you the PhD, and you don't have to go through 30 years of training like I have to get what's going on with money. There are really only 2 places your money are going to be when you retire. There's going to be taxable or tax-free. Okay, the taxable is basically pretty much where you have all your money: stocks, bonds, mutual funds. Well, bonds, they're on the tax-free side, but sort of. I'll come back to that. Sales of your business, real estate, your IRAs, your 401ks. Yes, they're going to get taxed on the way out at, as of this date, 40%. But that's going to change, and I think it's going to be higher. Just saying, 40% is a lot. When you're considering that that's going to be taxed, taking your money out of your retirement account, now you're trying to figure out your Social Security. You got to have all these numbers figured out when you're doing future planning. And this is what I'm trying to show you how to do, how to plan for a fabulous future. And that's why I say it's a good idea to grab my book too. ready for pre-retirement. 3 secrets for safe money and a fabulous future. That is what's so important here. Excuse me. Now, the other place that your money is going to be is tax-free. Tax-free. You're going to make sure, well, muni bonds used to be really, when I started in the 1990s, that's where a lot of retirees had their money. And they were literally able to live off the interest of the muni bonds. But now these muni bonds don't even keep up with inflation. And what? Do I want a muni bond based on a bankrupt city like, LA or San Bernardino? I don't think so. No. So they're not like they used to be. Roth IRAs, well, those are great, but they're very limited. So if you make 100,000 as an individual, or you make 160, you would not be able to really utilize the Roth IRA. And then they're limited on how much you can put in every year also. And where do they invest your Roth IRA? In risk, in the market. And so then that's volatile. So there's a lot of things. Money's kind of like a seed. You can plant that seed, and you have to really be aware that there are roots and there's gophers and there's things that it can eat at this money, so that by the time you need it for retirement, it is withered away. And that's what I'm trying to show you by showing these things to you. Again, what do you think? Do you think the taxes are going to be higher in the future or lower? Right. And you can go ahead and answer in the chat. I bet you most of the people on here would basically say higher. All right. This is one I turn away from because I don't want to, I want to inspire you, but this is what you really need to look at when you're thinking about Social Security. There's a problem with your IRA, your 401k. It's not worth as much as you think. So let's break this down. When you retire, when you draw your retirement account from an IRA, you will owe taxes at ordinary income tax rate. Right. Now, there's a solution on how you can get out of that tax. Very few planners know about it. It's in the safe money world. It's called the IRA reboot. So it allows you to convert your IRA into a tax-free vehicle with no out-of-pocket costs. That sounds incredible, right? Well, how does it work? So let's just say you have $1 million. You can add or subtract zeros, but you can see the idea. You have $1 million in your retirement account. Now, by the time you take those taxes out and you're in the 20 or 40% tax bracket, you're really going to only have $600,000 to $700,000 by the time you're through paying all those taxes. With an IRA reboot, this allows you to turn the $1 million of taxable income into a $1 million of tax-free income. And how does this work? This uses a very creative thing. It's called IUL. It's investable life insurance. And these are hybrid life insurance that lets you use the death benefit while you are alive for life. It's so cool. And what it does, let's just say you systematically transfer your IRA or 401k into the IRA reboot over 5-10 years, depending on what age you are. The taxes are internally paid by the death benefit, not you writing a check from your money, but from the death benefit. So that literally allows you to reduce your taxes 1/3 to 1/2 in the conversion. It will give you tax-free income for life. It will give you tax-free long-term care. And let me tell you, I'll be talking about this a little bit, how important that is in this pandemic time. You need to make sure you're covered for that. And then tax-free wealth transfer. So, how all this relates to your Social Security, because it isn't just a time that you look at a linear thing. There are multiple levels here that we're talking about. This is to give you the full picture on how you're going to take your retirement out. So, Catastrophic illness. This is really a hard one for me, and I'll just share it personally. One day, my mommy came up to me, and she was big tears in her eyes, and sent me this piece of paper. And she said, "Honey, I want you to share this with your clients." And I go, "Mom, what's wrong?" And I looked at it, and I started to cry because she felt so sad because she had always wanted to leave us money. Well, what it was a bill from Stanford Hospital for 5 days of chemo. Guess how much it was? Shocking. This is 10, 11 years ago now. $90,000 for 5 days of chemo. She had chemo 5 days a month for a year. $1 million is not a lot of money. If you think you're going to self-insure with your money, don't do it. Now, thank God my daddy was very blessed and he was successful and he had multi-millions. So he was able to fund this, but he didn't have long-term care. So when I said to him, you guys might want to get long-term care, I never pushed on it. He was really old school, born in 1919. And he was, no, Social Security is going to take care of it. No, it's not. Social Security doesn't cover long-term care, catastrophic illness. Basically, it will cover people that have comas, but it doesn't give you full-time home care. And you end up in a nursing home and you have to spend all your assets to get there. And it's really a sad story. Thank God my daddy had the money to take care of my mom for 11 years. And even the doctor said she'd live for only one. She went for a long time, prayers and her will to live too. But the point was, they had the money. Most people don't have the money. And they spent down the estate. One day my dad said, "You're going to inherit $1 million." A few years later, said, "Honey, you might get something." And I said, "Dad, I never counted on your money. I only want you." And that's a story to share with you, that this is so important for you to plan. Use my nightmare family story to help empower you so that you can plan and not spend down your estate and live to 100 or 120 and have plenty of money. Now, you got to expect the unexpected. These are volatile times. I don't need to tell you that. 3 out of 100 will have a fire in their home. We're in California, right? And other states too. It's getting pretty crazy out there. I bet you everybody has fire insurance, right? Okay. 18 out of 100 people will have a car accident. Got to have car insurance. It's a law. And 7 out of 10 people are going to retire long-term care. These numbers were before COVID. So it's pretty drastic right now with the COVID, how many people are going to get these kinds of strange illnesses. And the cost is anywhere from $5,000 to $20,000 a month. My mommy's long-term care, let me go back here one more time, just to share with you, was $15,000 a month. She went on like that. That's why the estate went down. They were paying for it out of your pocket. But if you learn these new strategies, then you can preserve your money and preserve your Social Security for life instead of spending everything that you have. Well, my dad's plan was based on, he thought he would outlive my mom, but it didn't work out that way. And like I said, my dad worked till he was 91, didn't have long-term care, had a fall, broke his femur bone, went to the best hospital in the world, Stanford, never been to a hospital before, mind you, got pneumonia. And again, they said he'd only live a year. Don't believe that, right? He went 6 years, but again, he didn't have long-term care. We had to hire a caregiver, and that was $70,000 a year. I did that on my own, found a caregiver, $10 an hour, full-time, 24 hours. Thank God he had the money. Why am I telling you this? This relates to your Social Security. There are so many things that you have to think about that are so important. And especially now, because it isn't like you're going to wait till, 80, 90, 100 to pass. It happens at all kinds of ages. So having the right paperwork, making sure your assets are protected from probate is really important. And I want to share a little personal story with you, how I got started. Now, I'm a paralegal in California. It's called an LDA, Legal Document Assistant. So I'm licensed and bonded to prepare legal documents. I've prepared over 6,000 living trusts. Never had one problem. They work. And what I found was people just didn't know about them. So when I started in the early 1991, 92, I was working with an attorney, and we were at a senior center. There was a little widow there and the attorney. And the widow had a car and a house and no money. And this attorney was going to make her a living trust. And back then, the living trust cost $5,000. And she said to him, "Sir, I don't have any money in the bank. I'm living off of Social Security." And I looked to him and I said, "Hey, can you give her a deal?" He said, "No." As cold as ice, no. And it was like, whoa, it hit me because I felt really sorry. I felt bad for her. And you know what? It changed my life. I said goodbye to the attorney. And I'm one of the first people in Southern California to do workshops on what's the difference between a will and a living trust. Living trusts have been around since the Middle Ages. That's how long they've been around. Nobody has known about them. The information has been withheld from people, and it's mysterious. You think, oh, you got to have a will. If I die, I need a will. But you know what a will is? It's a ticket to probate. So what happens? You look at your estate. The idea is to protect your estate while you are alive, so you have income you never outlive, and if you do it right, you'll actually have gifts for those after you pass. But the idea is protection and safety. So your estate includes everything: stocks, bonds, real estate, everything you own, antiques. Now, the laws are going to change again. Watch, here we go again. But back, they changed the law, and essentially, right now, if you have 11.2 million per person, there's no going to be estate tax. But 5 years ago, it was $1 million. And then if you pass that $1 million, there would be a state tax. I think it's going back there. The country needs money. So you got to think about this in the plan. And there are ways to protect that from taxes. How do you do that? These are all taxes and all relates together. It's one story. Living trust. It helps you control the distribution of your estate. This is not just an end of a life conversation. And I'll show you this. It minimizes its fees and taxes that are imposed before and after you pass, and avoids probate. Remember, probates are courts. Courts take attorneys, and attorneys take what? Right, money. Okay, conservatorship. Now, this is really important because 2 out of 3 people will end up in a nursing home. And conservatorship is really important. So if you don't have the right paperwork, somebody that the state appoints could be your conservator. And that is not always a happy story, especially in a pandemic. You want your family connected with you. You know what? At this time, it's so important whether you have money or not to have this paperwork during these pandemic times. Now, we'll come back to that later, procrastination. But one thing I want to tell you is the powers of attorney. This is part of a living trust for financial and healthcare. Make sure you get those now. I'm a real big safety person. You have money, you have health. Something happens to you, all of a sudden you get the big C, cancer or COVID. You have the paperwork for your family to help you, to pay the bills, to talk to the doctor. Very important to have. Make sure you have that. Okay? Don't wait. It's not an age thing now. Very important. So inside of the living trust, you'll have everything that will help you avoid the capital gains taxes, probate, Guardianship, all those of you that still have minor children. A living trust gives you somebody that if something happened to you, got in an auto accident, something happens, who's going to take care of the kids? Very important to make sure that you have your legal documents. Okay. Now I know I'm pouring a lot of information on you guys. I want you to make sure that you're going to hop on, click the information that it's going to allow you to make an appointment with you. And when you make this appointment, I'm going to call you for the phone appointment. We're going to hop on the phone. It's only like a 15, 20-minute call. Doesn't take much of your life. I'm going to ask you certain questions, your age, your health, your goals. I'm going to go back. I'm going to research some of the things that we've talked about that will work for you. Sometimes people have special social security questions. We'll get all of that. Then we'll hop back on a second call, and I will give you a mini presentation that's customized for your age and your health and your wealth. All of those things that we'll be able to do. This is customized for you. The only thing that I ask for you, because it is complimentary, there is no charge, is you honor my time. So if I call and you can't be there, let me know. If I call, return the call. Now, in my practice of 30 years, one thing that I found is everything is so busy that people have a hard time returning the calls. They want to talk to me. I've literally follow up with people for decades. But now, because things are moving fast, and I have a lot of people that want to talk to me, it's on you to stay up with the appointments, because I'm doing an hour's worth of work for you before we get on the call with no charge to you. So take advantage of my 30 years of experience. You know what? Doing these kinds of things, talking about retirement, Social Security, life, death, health, wealth, all those things, well, can give you peace of mind if you don't procrastinate. And that's what we all got. We got those alligators. These alligators are trying to attack us. We're trying to get to the other side of the swimming pool, but, they're coming at us, trying to get us before we get there. So if I can have a moment with you in your time, I can show you how you can swim right through the alligators and never be bit, right? Give you peace of mind. But people procrastinate this. Well, we'll talk about it when we're rich. Oh, we're talking about it when there's not so much going on, right? What are you waiting for? More time, more money, less stress? When do you think that's going to happen? I don't know. So most people don't want to do it because they're uncomfortable. My husband always banked to Bank of America. Some of these things are hard to do. It's hard to trust people. And you don't want to upset your family. There's a lot of emotion around money. I've spent decades doing this, and I found I coach people more around their emotions on their money and planning than doing paperwork. So there's a mindset around it that I've been very successful in, and I'm excited to share it with you. And now, again, do you want safe money? Raise your hand, say yes, click the button, make sure you make an appointment with me. Download the handout that's there for you. Your next chapter checklist gives you some activating things that you can kind of put on your calendar to do. Get my book. I'm giving it to you for free. My #1 bestseller, PDF. You can download it, read a lot more detail about some of the things that I've talked about today. And the idea is, of course, you want safe money. Of course, you don't want to worry about running out of money. And 69% of people are more worried about running out of money than death, according to AARP. So you don't want to be one of those statistics. Want worry-free, stress-free, third and fourth quarter life, right? And the cure is to move in the right directions. And those of you that are still in your second quarter, you guys are the ones I want to show about starting now. That's why I say ready for pre-retirement, plan retirement early. And those of you that are retired, it's never too late. I work with people all the way up to 90 years old. So it's never too late to eliminate the confusion. Don't feel obligated by the past. Sign up for a personal financial fitness exam and get your assets in shape. We'll go through any personal Social Security questions you may have. And really, I look forward to being able to talk to you on a one-on-one level. Again, here's that question. Do you want to protect your estate from losses, taxes, and long-term care? Can I hear a yes? Of course you do. Schedule your financial fitness strategy session. And we're getting towards the end here, so I can check if you guys have any questions right now. I can see if anybody's in there. Linda said she was having audio, so I'm sure our team handled that. Linda, make sure you put your email in the chat so that if you had problems hearing it, I'll be able to email it back out to you. More than likely, there'll be a replay. If you guys missed or had technical difficulties, let me know, and we will resend this out. Share it with your friends. Tell your friends. That's really how I help people. Is I get a lot of referrals because we do great work. Hey, don't forget to get my #1 best-selling book, Ready for Pre-Retirement. 3 secrets for safe money and a fabulous future. Now, I say 3 secrets. They're just not secrets. It's just nobody's talking about them. And like I showed you today, all this is built around Social Security, making sure your assets are safe. You never lose a dime in the stock market. You have no probate, no conservatorship, no guardianship. You have your powers of attorney. Your assets are protected with paperwork, and your long-term care and catastrophic illness is covered in these pandemic times. So make sure you get a copy of my book. Now, are there any other questions in there that anybody may have here? I can't tell if anybody has any other questions here. So again, I'm really glad that you guys were able to hop on, and we'll be able to answer any personal questions with you. Again, thank you all for joining. Create income you'll never outlive. I look forward to talking to you. Kris Miller, Healthy Money, Happy Life. And my phone number is 951-926-4158. I wanted to make sure you got that just in case you had any audio difficulties. Thank you all for joining. Look forward to talking to you.